All right, welcome in. It is time for Total Bases. It's Wednesday, and it's kind of like it's not it's not the last show, of course. As I said, we're going to be with you guys for the entire playoffs, but it's kind of like the unofficial last Total Bases show because it's the last day that we're going to have more than 2 games to talk about. So, in honor of that, we're bringing back the parlay. One day only. It's like, one night only. Parlay. No matter what, win or lose, we can't lose on the parlays this year, plus 5.35 units on our show parlays. We'll try one more. So stick around for that. We're going to go through all 4 games. Bryan Leonard is back. We got Tokyo Brandon here, and we'll get to all 4 games, but stay around at the end of the show because we will have our final parlay of the day of the season. All right, let's get right into it. Let's go out to Detroit. They've got the day game. It's Mariners-Tigers. TB and I talked about this series yesterday. Of course, after we get off the show, kind of becomes apparent that Josh Naylor will make it to the game. He did. I still managed to get myself onto the Tigers. That was a bad bet. Fortunately, Yankees came through for me. But the Tigers lose yesterday, Bryan Leonard, and now their backs are against the wall. It's Casey Mize. Is Bryce Miller. Do you think this is a better spot than yesterday for the Tigers? And do you think that this series heads back to Seattle?
Yeah, I'm glad to be back today. The big news yesterday, for at least for myself and maybe Brandon, is Rush is going to tour a little small tour. Decided
it's a woman drummer.
They've got a German drummer, and I saw some of her stuff, and she looks awesome.
She's amazing.
Anything to replace Neil Peart and try to keep up with that. I'm excited about that. They're not coming to Vegas. Might have to go to Cleveland or LA or something to see them, but I've seen them many times, and I'm very excited about that. And I'm also excited about the hockey season, which started yesterday, got off to a nice start with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think I was the only person on the planet that was betting on the Penguins. That was nice, and we split our baseball. We had the Tigers yesterday as a small play, and also the Yankees, so I was very happy to split those, but yeah, looking for a strong card today. We're going to Detroit and Seattle. Miller against Mize. It's basically a pick 'em right now, depending on what side you like. You can get pretty much minus 100 either way. I guess Mize probably in most places right now a slight favorite, maybe a 110, maybe something in that range. But when you take a look at the bullpen usage in this game, I think it definitely favors Detroit. We've seen, obviously they had Monday off, but we've seen Munez now going 3 of the last 4, Brash 3 of the last 4, Bastardo 3 of the last 4, and Aspire through 30 pitches, but he's had the last 2 days off, so that'll help a little bit. But the main 3 guys that back there, pitching 4 out of 5 days is tough. And I know they're relief pitchers. They're only going to throw, 20 pitches or whatever. But still, that's something I'm concerned about with Seattle here. And obviously, Bryce Miller has not been the same strength as he has been in the past because of his injuries. Comes in with a 5.68 ERA, 5.29 expected, 1.41 WHIP. Everything on his StatCast card is below league average, except for his fastball velocity of 56 percentile. And he does throw a lot of pitches, 7 pitches. I like that, but really he sticks with his top pitches. Maybe his top 4 or 5 pitches. But he's a guy that I've liked in the past. But obviously because of injuries, he has struggled this year. Casey Mize, as the season goes on, I'm starting to become a little bit of a believer in him. Comes in with a very nice 3.87 ERA, 3.69 expected, 1.27 WHIP. Doesn't walk anybody. He's got great extension. That's his best 2 properties. He's going to throw 5 pitches, and everything else is pretty much league average, pretty close to it. Hard hit rate, 32nd percentile, average exit velocity, 33rd. That's his worst. So he's not really bad at anything. Not a huge strikeout guy, although even though he's below 1.0 per inning, he's better than he had been in his previous 2 years. So I kind of like Detroit in this one, and it's obviously it's a must-win situation. But if you take a look at Detroit, I think they match up a little bit better with Miller. we'll have to see how this goes. But slight lean to Detroit in this price range. If I got them at plus money somewhere, I think I may be on them. But that's the side I prefer.
Yeah, guys, you can thank me for Bryan being here. I bailed him out. So just kidding. Bryan's probably never done a bad thing in his life. He's one of the nicer guys I know. So Wager Talk allows us to price our MLB bets anything other than a 5% play at $9. So go to wagertalk.com and see what we have to offer. If you like our handicapping, our plays are available for $9, which is just $4 more than $5 Tuesday. That's pretty crazy that they let us do that. But we're not complaining. So go check out what we got. Mine's up already. Regarding this series, I don't like either pitcher here. I don't like either pitcher's matchup. Mize is a guy that I've been fading almost all season and made quite a lot of money doing it. My rankings have him ranked 15 on a curve of 30, so he's exactly mediocre. But Bryce Miller, my numbers hate him. I got him ranked 24 out of 30 for his season. Granted, the playoffs are not the regular season. I understand that. But it's like we are the ugly stepchild. But today, everything was produced properly. So anyways, Bryce Miller has decent numbers against the Tigers, but not great. But he's not a guy that I have a lot of faith in. But I have less faith in Casey Mize, even though my numbers like him more. Seattle is just raking right now. They're getting production from Arozarena. They're getting production from, their catcher's not, Rally's not hitting home runs, but he's getting hits. He's getting doubles and singles, which is good enough to get runs across. And man, Mariners are cranking it right now. I like the Mariners first 5 over 1.5. I think that's kind of a no-brainer, but every time I say that, I'm going to lose. But I think that's a pretty decent bet. Their team total for the game is 4.5. There's no reason 1.5 for the first 5 seems odd to me. Tigers bullpen's not that bad. That number seems a little off. It might have switched to 2.5 while we were talking, but I got a 1.5 and I played it. So that's where I'm going to go.
You can get 1.5 in the 165 range, minus 165, or under, or the 2.5 at plus money. It's on at 2.5 under 170. So I agree on that a little bit. I think Seattle could have a little success against Mize, so I wouldn't be against you in that one.
So I like the Tigers again here. Maybe I'm a little bit stubborn, but I'm going to go back to the beginning of the series and just how these teams sort of match up with each other. I felt like coming into this series, I felt like the matchup was favorable for Detroit because of all the right-handed pitching on the Seattle side. I think in the playoffs, we'll talk about it as we go along. You need your big guns to produce in the playoffs. It's really hard to win a playoff series without getting the production from the Riley Greens and the Kerry Carpenters. Of course, they've struggled against left-handed pitching. Well, the one nice thing about this matchup for the Tigers is the Mariners don't have a left-handed starter, and they only have 2 lefties out of the bullpen. What I think is so important about yesterday, it'll go unnoticed, but the fact that the Tigers made that little run at the end of the game forced Munoz to come in and throw 9 pitches. So Bryan talked about his usage. Yeah, 9 pitches, no big deal. It was somewhat of a stress-free inning. Of course, if that bullet Riley Green hit managed to get down the right field line instead of into Josh Naylor's glove, maybe it's a little bit of a different scenario. But relatively, like 9 pitches, he did his job. Prior to that, Caleb Ferguson got blown up to the point where I don't know if the Mariners would necessarily want to put him back out here in a big spot. What that means is you're now down to 1 lefty. Right? Like if you're not going to use Ferguson, I think Spire is the only other lefty on the roster right now for the Mariners. So I think that is favorable for the Tigers because it's more likely that Green and Carpenter late in the game aren't going to get sort of like, matched up with and put the lefty out there. The other thing that I think is important here for me as someone that was, watched the game yesterday on the Tigers, trying to figure out, did I make a bad bet? What, they just beat themselves in a lot of cases. Couple errors, not hitting cutoff guys, right? Like, I'm not saying it changes the outcome of the game, but that was a sloppy game from the Tigers. And I feel like if you've watched the Tigers all year, that you can expect better than that. They're typically a very good base running team. They're typically a pretty good defensive team. So I'm going to chalk yesterday up to maybe just not being their best ever. Who knows? 3-hour rain delays affect everyone a little bit differently. So you really just don't know. But my gut says, hey, let's just give them a pass on like the overall gameplay there. It shouldn't deter you from like liking them here. Now, I think this is a much more favorable pitching matchup for the Tigers than yesterday was. Logan Gilbert, I've talked about him maybe being injured a little bit, and I still believe that to be true, but that dude just goes out there and battles. I still think if you watch Gilbert, I don't think he's his best self right now. I don't think he's the guy that we expect to be in the Cy Young conversation, running up a lot of 3-2 counts. That's something like when Gilbert is on, he's usually much more economical than that. But hey, credit to him. He just makes every big pitch, got them out of a couple of spots. And like, to me, I mean, Bryce Miller, not even right, especially this year, Bryce Miller with all the injuries, not even close to the caliber of right-handed pitcher they faced yesterday with Logan Gilbert. Whereas Casey Mize and Flaherty at this point, I mean, Flaherty's better. Not that different, in my opinion. And the other thing here is I don't think Hinch – I think Hinch is going to go to Casey Mize and say, get me through the order once, and we'll win this game. I really believe that's the plan. I think if Casey Mize can come out, get through this Mariners order once without giving up damage, the Tigers are going to be in a great position here because I think it was the last round that Mize pitched in against the Guardians where it's like, I think that was a plan. I think he ended up getting maybe a fourth inning out of him, and he was out before he even gave up any damage, if I remember correctly. I think Hinch pulled him maybe like once a guy got on first base before he could like implode. I think that's what you'll see out of the Tigers again here. If you're going to give me AJ Hinch season on the line, I'm going to use every resource available type game, and it's a home game, and it's an early start. Remember, the Tigers just played an entire series with the Guardians in this time slot, relative time slot. The Mariners, they just traveled to this time zone. And then yesterday, I think, got bailed out a little bit by having that game delayed 3 hours. Now they have to turn around, play the early start. Tigers much more accustomed to that. So I'll run it back with the Tigers here. And I think we're going to get 5 in this series. My gut has said the whole time that this is a 5-game series, and I think it finds a way. Okay. We'll move on. We can lock, if someone wants to lock in a parlay leg as we go, we can, but we can also do that at the end of the show. We're going to talk about all 4 games. So no reason to force it out unless you're just like, yeah, I got to have this. I don't want someone else to steal it from me type deal. But we move on and we go, let's head over to the National League. We'll keep it in time order for the OCD folks in the chat that love it in order of the way the games are going to be played. And that's going to take us out to Wrigley Field, Bryan Leonard. Another game. So this is one of 2 series that could end in a sweep today. Do the Cubbies have any juice, or is this one going to end here, in your opinion?
We've got Priester, who they were able to save a little bit going up against Tyon here. The Cubs are about a 120 favorite, total of 6.5 to the over. I do want to touch on the ballpark factor here in Wrigley Field. The wind is blowing straight in. Let's look at the mile. Yeah, 9 miles an hour blowing straight in. And I think that will have an effect on this game. It should lower home runs by 34% and runs by 25%. So we've already got 2 teams that are probably going to use their bullpens any chance they can in this game, since they did have yesterday off. Milwaukee did use their bullpen really heavily on Monday. When they did throw a lot of innings, they went with the bullpen game. But I think they should be in pretty good shape. Other than Ashby, who got the start, and Mizorowski, who came in, those 2 guys combined to throw 100 pitches in that game. So everybody else, I think, should be available here. And when we take a look at the situation here for Milwaukee with Quentin Priester on the mound, terrific season, 13-3 record. Although we don't pay a lot of attention to wins, not a lot of attention to the ERA either, but still 3.32 ERA, 3.62 expected, 1.24 WHIP, ground ball rate 93rd percentile. May not even come into account in this one with the wind blowing in like that, but it'll be pretty hard to hit a home run off of him in this ballpark, for example. So if you're playing Cubs home runs, if you're able to get them no home runs, maybe a better bet. But he's had a pretty good season. Throws 5 different pitches, and he throws a sinker a lot, which is why his ground ball rate is so high. So we really like Priester. He's been in really good shape. Taillon on the season, 11-7 record, 3.68 ERA, 3.88 expected, 1.06 WHIP. Doesn't walk anybody. That's his best statistic. Extension 80th percentile, average exit velocity 75th, but he is a fly ball pitcher. So his ground ball rate is only 13th percentile. So with the wind blowing in, probably favors him more than it does Priester. When I look at this game, and we're looking at the total right now, it's 6.5, somewhat like the under in that. The Cubs continue to struggle a little bit offensively. Milwaukee can create. We've seen it all along. Milwaukee can create some runs. I will point out, since you mentioned defense, I've been watching every game, and it's clear all these teams are matched up very well. They're all pretty close in talent. It's the team who doesn't commit errors that win. And one of you mentioned yesterday, I think it might have been TB, that when one person commits an error, it shakes up the pitcher, and then usually something bad happens after that. And there's a lot of that going around. Either the defense has been bad. I know the wind in the Yankees game was kind of crazy yesterday, and that might have had an effect on it. But Toronto didn't play good defense in that game, and that's what probably cost them the game. So defense is really important. Make sure you're checking defense on these games. And the relief pitching obviously means a lot more now than it did earlier in the season because they're pulling the starters earlier. I give Chicago and Milwaukee are both excellent defensive teams. And with the wind blowing in, I kind of like the under here. You can get the under pretty much under 6.5. That's probably my best bet on this game so far.
Yeah, again, guys, $9 for any MLB play that we put out that's not a 5% play. It's a great deal. Go to wagertalk.com, and we usually put up free plays almost every day. Go to wagertalk.com and click the free plays page to see what we got. I have one up right now. Actually, I have 2. One is baseball and one is basketball. Regarding this one, I like the pitching matchup for the Cubs here. I know Priester's a good pitcher, but I mean, flat up, I'll take a guy. Look, Priester's whip is 124 on the season, and Taillon's is 106. I don't think anyone would expect Jameson Taillon to have a 106 whip. He's just not that kind of guy. I've never backed him before, but this season he's just dealing. He's got decent stats against these Brewers, and his home ERA is right at 3. I think it's pretty good. Priester. My numbers like him more, so that means his expected numbers are better, which means he's probably a little bit unlucky. He's probably better than his 1-2 whip would indicate. Just that being the case, I like the Cubs lineup to bounce back a little bit. I don't really like their bullpen that much, but the problem with this game though is the books feel exactly the way I do. I expected the Brewers to be favored here, and when you look at the numbers, the Cubs are a slight favorite. At least what I'm looking at, the Cubs are like -105, Brewers are like +105 kind of thing. In any case, the Cubs are a slight favorite, probably because they're at home. But Priester's a good pitcher. It's hard to bet against him, but I think the Cubs will take this one. If I was hoping they would be a big underdog and you could get them +1.5, but unfortunately that's not the case. So maybe a Cubs team total, something like that would be the way to go in this one.
I think the line's right where it should be. Taillon at home against Priester. Cubs are going to be favored there. That would be. I would be shocking to me if they were like a dog in that scenario. I'm talking about over the course of the regular season. Now, I've noticed that like with the exception of books really not wanting to give you the +1.5 if they don't have to, the playoff lines I think have been like kind of similar pricing wise to like how we would see these games priced during the regular season. I think that might be where your edge is a little bit as a handicapper betting these playoff baseball games. It's that, okay, like we're throwing out a line. We're seeing a line that if these two teams were playing a game in August, game would probably be priced similarly to this, but how is the game going to go, right? Like, because there's other factors that are going to determine how the game's going to go. I got to imagine Pat Murphy sitting there with the boys last night watching the Blue Jays Yankees games. In his head, he's saying, well, I know how I'm not going to manage this game. I'm just going to not do what John Schneider did, right? Like panic, pull my starter, use my entire bullpen and put myself into a situation where now I don't know what I'm going to do with my pitching when I have a 2-0 lead in the series. That's the other thing, like, I think that's the better way, in my opinion, to look at the 2-0 lead in the series. The step on the throat mentality is going to be there for the team. Like, don't get me wrong. Like the Blue Jays the Brewers do not want to give a game to the Cubs here in a 5-game series. So the whole like concept that, they're up 2-0. No, the Brewers want to win this game. They're playing to win this game. They care very greatly about winning this game. But what you could see now, remember, the Brewers are in a similar situation where Woodruff's not going to pitch in this series. So that's a starter down, right? Like for the Brewers that they normally would have had. If you're the Brewers here, I think you got to kind of just like, unless Priester's getting absolutely rocked or he doesn't have it, I think you got to ride him out a little bit. I think what they did, so here's what I think was the game plan. I think the game plan for the Brewers was always to go to Quinn Priester in game 2 in bulk. Now, at some point. Now, what happened in game 2 was the Brewers were able to blow it open relatively early, I think by the 4th or the 5th inning. So at that point, I think, Pat Murphy's probably looking like, all right, let me get out of this with my bullpen. Let's get the win here. And then we can let Priester sort of go in game 3. I think he's going to stick to that. So like that to me gives the Cubs a very slightest of edges because the Cubs have to be in win or go home mode. So the Cubs, anything the Cubs have has to be thrown at this game to extend the series. Whereas the Brewers, in my opinion, how they should be managing this is let's play this game out. It's Priester's game until we have to go to someone else. And let's make sure that every pitcher we want in order for game 4 and game 5 is set up perfectly. Because even if we lose here, we still have 2 chances to do it. One of them is going to be on our home field. That's how I think the game should be managed. That's how we'll talk about Jays Yankees in a second. That's where he messed up a little bit, in my opinion, yesterday and put himself into a spot for today. That would be Schneider and the Blue Jays. So I think I got to give a slight edge to the Cubs here. They're at home. Tyone Priester is a wash, in my opinion. It's really hard to say one is better than the other. I think the 2 teams are very even, and I think you'll get the council urgency setup, whereas Pat Murphy's got a little bit more house money to play with. He can kind of go and maybe use his depth arms to make sure that game 4 and game 5 are a wrap for how he wants the pitching. So because of that, I'll give the slightest edge to the Cubs in this game. What do you guys, is that like how you guys are looking at like these types of spots, the 2-0s and stuff like that?
Yeah, you want to look and see who's available. And yeah, I agree. Once the blow up started yesterday, it never stopped and didn't matter who he brought in, but he brought in some arms that he probably
What is he? Bryan, let's go right there. Let's go right to that because that was I give John Schneider a 1 out of 10 yesterday. I mean, that was just like that was how to not manage a game when you're up 2-0 in the series.
The Dave Roberts Award.
What his thought process was in that game was, I don't have a game 4 pitcher. So you know what? I've got a 6-3 lead and I'm just going to go for it. That was the thought process. I got a 6-3 lead. I'm going to try to win it right here. If I win it right here, I don't have to worry about a pitcher for tomorrow. He takes Shane Bieber out with 54 pitches. Now, who knows? Maybe Bieber gives up runs there. Maybe he doesn't. But by doing that, he pretty much put himself into a situation where he had to win yesterday. he doesn't win yesterday. And as Bryan, I'll go to you because you started to bring this up. He doesn't win. He falls behind. Then he's using guys like Little. I think he brought in Nance at the end. I think he totally screwed himself for game 4 because you don't have that other starter on the roster. So what is the Blue Jays game plan today? Where do they go from what they did yesterday in game 4 right here?
Well, right now it says that Varland's pitching, and this will be the 3rd game in 4 days for Varland. So I can only imagine an inning out of him today. Schlittler going for the Yankees. Big favorite here in the 185 range. 8.5 is on the total. Toronto's hurting. I no doubt about it. I like Louis Varland, and despite either the most impressive or the luckiest home run I've ever seen, hitting that one out, the guy's had a great year. 2.97 ERA, 4.02 expected, 1.20 WHIP. He's in the 90th percentile or better in ground ball rate, extension, and fastball velocity. He's got an 86% chase rate. Now, he does get hit a little bit. His hard hit percentiles in the 23rd, barrel 36. So when they do get him, like Judge did yesterday, the ball will travel. But I was reading when I believe I saw the first person that pointed out that Varland was starting was Underdog. It's a great follow on Twitter. And there was a lot of people say, oh, this is an automatic win for the Yankees. If Varland's going, Varland's a good pitcher. He just didn't have it yesterday. But he'll only go about an inning. So they're going to have to deal with their bullpen. And like I said yesterday, I mean, they'll have Hoffman, who hasn't pitched in 3 days. They'll have Dominguez. They held him out the last 2 days. And Rodriguez is available. But, Louis Varland has gone 3 out of 4, and he'll only go an inning. Little's a good reliever. He didn't have it yesterday. Only threw 9 pitches. He'll be available. So they're going to have to go with another bullpen game here. And luckily, Varland at 20 pitches was the one that threw the most yesterday. So the good news for Toronto is they didn't throw a lot of pitches. The bad news is because none of them were effective. That's what you got to take into account. Eric Lauer is the starter. He's a lefty. He threw 16 pitches on Sunday. They may try to go with him as the piggyback here, see what happens. That makes a little bit of sense. So we'll see what happens there. But that's why I think it'll go for the pitcher for the Yankees. Obviously, Schlittler, once I knew how to pronounce his name, he's really gone off. So I've been able to say it pretty well without screwing up. 2.96 ERA, 3.99 expected, 1.22 WHIP. Was fantastic his last time out, and people remember that. And people remember what you did recently. He's got a fastball velocity 95th percentile, strikeout rate 82nd, but his walk rate 18th percentile, ground ball rate 20th. Yes, he looked great last time out, and he has been very good, but he is still a rookie. He's only thrown 73 innings in the majors this year. They kept him down for a while, so his innings have been built up a little bit. I think right now, the way the Yankees left the field yesterday and the way this is set up, I kind of like the over here. I think we're getting a total of, you can either go 8 to the over or basically 8.5. I think Varland may struggle a little bit. 3rd game in 4 days already, 4th and 5 now. And he's going to have to face the top of that Yankee order. And Toronto's hitters are still good hitters. They performed well yesterday. They were obviously, their hitting with men in scoring position has been tremendous in the series, which is why they've gotten off to a great start. But I think they may get to Schlittler a little bit here. I think people are asking a little bit too much from this rookie. The line's a little high here. So let me take a look, and I'll look at the team totals, and we'll see Toronto at 3.5. I'm going to play that over as my part of the parlay. I am going to take Toronto team total over 3.5, and it's basically minus 110 wherever you go. DraftKings, I don't know if it's a good line or a bad line. They got it at 2.5 minus 120. Obviously, that's a better line to play, but half the time I think those lines are fake because There's no way they would get all sharp money if they actually had that number out there. So let's go with that. Let's go with Toronto team total over 3.5 at -110, and I'll use that as my parlay piece.
I love that play. I think that's great. Let me make a couple points, but first I want to go on a little rant here. I was watching that game last night, listening to those announcers stroke Aaron Judge. Just made me want to throw up. He went
deserved stroking. He
come on.
Deserved to be stroked.
Okay, I'm gonna finish here. He went 3 for 4 with 4 RBI. Okay. He had the game tying home run. Good. It's the first game of the entire playoffs he had a meaningful hit. And Clement went 4 for 4. The announcers were saying Judge's game was historic. Give me a freaking break. That was not a historic game. 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs is not a historic game. I'm sorry, it's not. If he played for the Brewers, nobody would have even mentioned it. So I'm really tired of announcers stroking the Yankees. It's just making me sick. He had a great game. It was a wonderful game. It was a memorable game. It's not a historic game. Clement went for 4 for 4. Is that historic? If he was a Yankee, would it have been historic? It's just ridiculous. Anyways, it was a good game, and the Yankees pulled it out. They came back from behind. I'm going to make another point here. How many times have we seen a guy throw like a no-hitter, have a no-hitter into the 9th inning, and the next game he comes out and chokes? I think there's a little too much recency bias with Schlittler here. He is a good pitcher. He had a good season. Frankly, though, my numbers had him ranked 12. Let's see. Hang on. No, that's Teon. Schlittler. My numbers have him ranked 14 on a curve of 30. So with expected numbers included, he's a pretty average pitcher, or he was over the season. And I think the Blue Jays, look, in his career, he has 23 at-bats against the Blue Jays. They have a 435 average and a 953 OPS against him. So I love Bryan's play. I think the Blue Jays will get to him. I think Schlittler will come out very early. And the Yankees might be forced to put Nuke Weaver in the game because he hasn't pitched for a couple of games here. I think the Blue Jays are going to close it out today. But I do like the Blue Jays team total in the first 5 or in the full game. And I like the Blue Jays to win it. So that's how I feel.
The only thing that deserved the stroke, if you will, TB, is the fact that he turned on an 100-mile-an-hour pitch with movement inside and hit it. Not only did he hit it fair, he hit it off the foul pole. Like, there's like 2 people on planet Earth that can probably hit that pitch for a home run and fair, and he's one of them. That was
that from him, though. You don't expect him to have one meaningful game out of the whole playoffs. You expect that from him at least once a game.
So, like, I agree with you. It's like it was long overdue, and the Blue Jays still made many mistakes to lead up to that point. I'm talking like the hit itself, probably the most impressive thing I've seen all playoffs from any individual. Impressive.
He's a great hitter.
I like the over with you guys here. I am in the sort of, so I thought I would come right back and play the Yankees. I played Yankees -1 yesterday. I thought I would be a no-brainer to just run it back with the Yankees, but I do agree with you with Schlittler. I don't know that it's like, I mean, he had control issues at times during the year. There's not a huge sample. That Red Sox lineup without Roman Anthony it really leaves little to be desired, in my opinion. And it really showed in that game, taking Anthony out against a right-handed pitcher makes that lineup far worse. And he had it going. Let's not also forget, like, sometimes guys, when, he just had it working and he was able to ride it for 7-8 innings. So you definitely can't count on getting that here from him. With that being said, I'll go back to yesterday's game. That the Blue Jays really sort of managed themselves into a less than desirable spot for Game 4. As we said, Louis Varland, I didn't even know if he would come back out for that next inning. So if Louis Varland was the guy they got from the Twins. He was a starter. They turned him into a reliever. Suddenly he throws 100. Didn't know he had that in him, Bryan Leonard. I watched him all for a long time in Minnesota. I didn't know he had 100 in him. But it goes quickly, right? You don't see him with many multi-inning outings anymore. So the fact that they brought him back out, they clearly had the matchup they wanted against Judge. again, you could say he made a great pitch. 100 inside, and somehow Judge gets the barrel on it. I think that's why he's going to start this game. I think they still like the matchup with him against Judge. He will not be in for more than an inning. What I think you're going to see happen here for the Jays, and it doesn't mean they can't win. I think you're just going to see them go one reliever after another. It's going to be one inning, inning. And it's just going to be their whoever he's going to mix and match and play 9 relievers. Why? Because if they lose, they can go home in game 5, give the ball to Kevin Gossman, and if he can't do it, or if he has to come out of the game, it'll be Trey Savage. Good night. That's the plan for game 5. That's what the Blue Jays will do. So here, it's like the stakes aren't as high, I think, and that's why I think Schneider did what he did, because he's like, all right, let's just go for it here. If it doesn't work out, tomorrow's might be a little bit of an issue, but we're going to be able to go Gossman to Savage in game 5 and have the matchup we want at home. I think that has to be his thought process to take Bieber out where he did. So the problem with the bullpen game can be effective. The problem is for the Blue Jays, your bullpen ERA since Jimmy Garcia got hurt on July 2nd has been about 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the issue. My gut says this series goes back to Toronto, but this price is absolutely inflated. And I'm not sure that I want to bank on Schlittler locking it down. And then who knows? I mean, anything can happen if the Blue Jays have a great lineup. So if they put a 6 spot up off Schlittler, there's a good chance they see it out today. That's what makes it hard to take the Yankees at this price. So I'm with you guys. I like the over. It
was Judge's game last night historical, Adam?
It wasn't a historical game, but that hit will be played for a very long time. That was I believe that was I mean, to do that at home, the stadium, to put it off the foul pole, to turn on 100 in that spot was a historical at that. Yes.
Next question. If Chirinos had hit that home run, would announcers be calling it historical?
No, because no one gives a shit about the Brewers. It's more historical when the Yankees do it. Yes,
That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah, or if it was, or here as we make a segue into our last game, if it was Ohtani, it would be the same thing. It would be a bigger deal. That's just that's just how it is when you are a superstar in a big market. But you don't get to be a superstar in a big market without being the guy. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's more forgettable if someone on the Royals does it. It's just how it is. That's just how it is.
Yeah. That was the first game Judge made a difference in the outcome, and he should be making a difference a lot more often with his talent.
Yeah, he's still the best hitter in the game, but
he is not in the playoffs.
Anyway, we move on to 2 big market teams, and one that could be suffering a pretty unceremonious exit from the playoffs. That's the Philadelphia Phillies, who are looking at a 3-0 sweep in the face, and Vegas is telling you it's likely to happen because Bryan Leonard, we've got Yamamoto on the mound for the Dodgers. We've got Aaron Nola for the Phillies. It's in Dodger Stadium, and the Dodgers are approaching to being a $2 favorite. I think -175, -180 most places right now. Is there any chance the Phillies are playing baseball tomorrow at this point?
Well, one of the good things about the playoffs is if we know who the starter is, they'll get to the lines up early. And I gave this out as a free play yesterday, to my clients, and I used the Dodgers -160. I like it a lot better at 160 than 180. And that was the whole point, is I knew the money would come in on the Dodgers. Aaron Nola in a game that you need to have here. Not the way Philadelphia had planned it. He comes in with a 6.01 ERA, 4.24 expected, 1.35 whip. Chase rate, excellent, 93rd percentile. Extension, 88th percentile. He's 6'2", gets a lot out of that. But his fastball velocity is only in the 12th percentile. And he throws that 30% of the time. That's his most used pitch. In the majors, if you don't have his fastball is at 91.9. The average righty is 95. So if you throw a fastball the majority of your pitches and you are not one of the better fastball pitchers, you're going to get hit. And that's been the problem with him. Hard hit rate, 25th percentile, barrel rate, 36th. as much as Nola's had a great career in 11 seasons, he comes in with a 3.83 ERA, 109 and 89 record. He's been very good for Philadelphia over the years. He has not been good this year because of injuries. And now that they have to use him in this game, it is a concern. And because of that, you need to find a way to play the Dodgers, at least in my opinion. Yamamoto's been terrific all year long. In the majors, 2 seasons in the majors right now, he's got a 19-10 record, 2.66 ERA, 1.03 WHIP. The guy has been fantastic. You look at 80th percentile or better in baseball, expected ERA 94th, expected batting average 91st, strikeout rate 89th, barrel rate 87th, ground ball rate 91st. So not only is he a strikeout guy, he doesn't give up a lot of home runs. And his four-seamer, which he does use on most of his pitches, 36%, is a little bit over league average for a right-hander. So I prefer the Dodgers here. From a bullpen perspective, Philadelphia is not in bad shape at all. They did have to use Duran on Monday for 26 pitches. But other than that, the bullpen's in pretty good shape. So it may be a bullpen game for Philadelphia. You would expect that. If Nola runs into trouble early, he won't be around long, and they'll use the bullpen the rest of the way out. And I actually like the Philadelphia bullpen, which isn't bad. But when you take a look at the opposition here with the Dodgers, the bullpen has looked great in the playoffs, but they've had a lot of talent in that regard, a lot of experience. But still, these guys have struggled a little bit during the regular season. Suzuki's been great. You talked about bringing Trinan in. TB talked about this. I don't even know why Trinan was still on the roster. Threw 12 pitches, got him into trouble, and had to use Suzuki in that last game
Roberts
on
is
Monday. Yeah, he's not a good coach. He's a really bad coach. He just happens to be in an organization that buys players, and it really overshadows. He and Boone should not be around as coaches next year, even though they've run this far in the playoffs. But yet they will be, and that's why they continue to have to fight for everything they've got, because managers are bad. But anyway, the Dodgers offense, Muncy hasn't played the last 2 days because they played against lefties today. We'll see how it, like I said, last time I was on, he hadn't been hitting well anyway. Rojas has been playing 3 of the last 7 days. So I like the Dodgers here. If you got it early at the 160, that would be my play. Right now, maybe it's a Philadelphia team total under or something to that effect. But I think the season ends today in Philadelphia. Unless Nola comes out and pitches his best 3 innings of the season, then they may have a chance here. But don't like laying that price with the Dodgers right at this current moment.
I think Nola's going to have a good game here. And actually, in his last 7 starts, he's gone into the 6th inning in 6 of them. He's been pretty good lately. And he's got pretty good numbers against these Dodgers. Now, the problem is he's got to go on the road and face one of the best lineups in Major League Baseball, but he's backed by one of the best lineups as well. Yamamoto has been extremely good this season, and the stats that Bryan pointed out, to even pile on those, he was pretty bad last year, actually. So most of those stats are skewed towards this season. He was actually that much better this season. I've made a point in past shows that Japanese pitchers, when they come over, they always struggle in year 1 because the ball's different, the texture's different, and the size of the ball is different. Plus the pressure, the language barrier. Year 1 for a Japanese pitcher is very difficult. And Yamamoto is just coming into his form now, and expect him to get even better from now on because of the confidence. Expect Sasaki after this year, because technically this is his first year. Well, technically, let's face it, he didn't really play. So I consider this his rookie year. Next year, he's gonna break out, I think. So anyways, that's a different topic. I think Nola's going to pitch pretty well. I think this is going to, and I think he's going to go out of 5 innings, actually. So I think, Judge is leading the playoffs in hits. Yeah. How many of those hits meant anything? He gets crappy. I'm sorry. Okay. Never mind. He gets crappy singles when they're down 13-0. Those don't count. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
You just saved
Talking
the
about
Yankee
Judge.
season, but
Yeah. Well, yesterday he did finally. He had a game that meant something finally yesterday. So anyways, back to this game. I think the Phillies can keep it close. And I think we're talking about Dave Roberts being the Angel Hernandez of managers. I think he might do something stupid like put Trinan or someone in the game. And I think this will be a close game. Yamamoto will probably go 5 or 6 innings. But I think Nola will go 5 innings. I think this is going to be a tight game. I think Phillies plus 1.5 is a decent play. It's only minus 130. Taking the team with the second or more wins than the Dodgers this season for plus 1.5 runs, I think is a decent bet. I think people are getting a little caught up in how good Yamamoto is. He is good. His ERA at home is over 3 though. Over 3 is still good, but it's not the 2.66 that we were talking about. So I think the Phillies can keep it close.
I think this is the most lopsided game in this round of the playoffs. I think the only more lopsided playoff game we've seen was Reds Dodgers in that wild card series, and of course those both ended in Dodgers blowouts. I'm with Lou. Dodgers definitely the team to beat, super talented. If you haven't figured out that this is the best team in Major League Baseball right now, and they are the team to beat, they will likely be in the World Series. They'll probably win it. I'm not saying they can't be beat, but to me, it is clear as day that this is the best of the 8 teams left, and I have no interest in going against them. I think, kind of like going back to a point that Bryan made. How are you even in the wild card series with this team? It's like how is that even possible? That they were not one of the 2 top teams in the National League this year. I think that's created a little bit of value. Like I think there's still some people lagging behind on, and the market's lagging behind a little bit on just how good this Dodgers team is. This matchup right here, Dodgers should be on the other side of $2. Yamamoto at home, Nola has really not. I mean, who knows if he's even starting a postseason game if Wheeler's not hurt. He's probably on the roster somewhere. He hasn't been good. They lose 2 games in Philly. Now they've got to go out to LA. I'm not saying that he can't have a decent start and navigate his way through 5 innings, but I will be very, very surprised if this Dodgers lineup doesn't blow someone up at some point. So whether it's Nola, whether it's the next guy they put in, whether it's the 8th inning, I think you'll get a crooked number out of this Dodgers team. I think that is going to be a theme in this playoffs where at some point this lineup, now that you've got Will Smith back, that's another 850 OPS guy that's now back. I used the term yesterday, embarrassment of riches. That's what the Dodgers are. I mean, it's just Ohtani, Betts, Teoscar, Freeman, Tommy Edman, who missed time this year. Kike's been great in the playoffs. I mean, Muncy against with certain splits is very effective. Someone you want to have in the lineup. They just have so much talent. And, now, like, yes, Dave Roberts will screw something up every once in a while, but you can't screw up just being that much better than your opponent. That's what I see here out of the Dodgers. I mean, I just don't have a ton of faith in Aaron Nola being able to go through the lineup twice and not give something up. What I do have some faith in, though, is Yamamoto. I think he's emerging as a legitimate ace. Listen, Major League Baseball, having like really good starting pitchers, it's kind of a unicorn at this point. There's just not many of them. It's like you're going to start to see these teams get to playoff series and a bullpen game is going to be the norm. And that's just because there's not many great starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. I think Yamamoto might be one of them. And I think he's getting a little bit disrespected with this line, especially where open. So I'll throw Dodgers in the parlay. Bryan, I agree with you. I think it's a good bet where you got it, but I think for the parlay, we can put Dodgers in here at whatever the price is. So what do we have?
Let me mention that I hope the Dodgers win because I have a future on them to win the World Series. And getting Will Smith back is huge, huge. Yes, they have the better lineup. I'm not sure if they have the better bullpen, but with Sasaki back there, probably they do. But I think the Phillies can keep it close. That's all I'm saying.
I want to point something out.
Game. Yeah.
Two similarly priced games today. Yankees, Blue Jays, Dodgers, Phillies. in my opinion, those shouldn't be the same price. Like those should not be similarly priced games. The Dodgers have a
Phillies are a
far
good
greater
team, dude.
edge against the Phillies here than the Yankees do against the Blue Jays. But yet the books are telling you that those are the same. So that's where I just like, I think there's even still some value in the Dodgers at this price. I make this like minus 220. So
Phillies are
what are
a
we
good
seeing?
team, man.
What are we seeing, Brian, for a money line on the Dodgers?
Yeah, you're looking anywhere from, I see as low as 169 up to as high as 181. So something in the 175 range, I would say.
Considering they won 4 more games than the Dodgers, man, Phillies are getting disrespected. They're a good team.
Well, the Phillies had to win. They cared. They wanted to win. The Dodgers, as I've said the last 2 off seasons, they're so much better than anybody else in that division that they can cruise through the season. And it's clear that when you see the Dodgers now playing, they're a whole lot better than they were earlier when they've got all the healthy guys back now, and they let them stew in the minors or let them have time off because of injuries. So it's a different Dodgers team now than it was earlier.
I agree they're better, but man, the Phillies are a good team.
Phillies is a good team, but they have not done well in the playoffs, especially at home.
As I said at the time, there was zero chance the Phillies were going to win a playoff series without Zach Wheeler. Like, that was just far too big of a loss. So you look at the regular season, you're judging them. I mean, Zach Wheeler had a Cy Young caliber campaign until he went down. I mean, just a monumental loss that I don't think got enough attention for how big of a deal that was. And then, of course, here we are in the playoffs. Phillies lose 2 games at home, and now they're going to have to go. They would have to win twice as essentially a close to close to plus 160 underdog probably just to get the series back to Philly. But I don't even think it comes to that. I think it ends here. So Dodgers for the parlay. Tokyo Brandon, we need a parlay leg from you. Can you give us something from one of the earlier 2 games?
Yes, I can. Jake, yes, Hapoel Tel Aviv is a good parlay piece in my opinion. I think they're a 4-point favorite. They should be like 12-point favorites here. Anyways, question: do you think Yamamoto has a chance to win the Cy Young, or Skeens has it wrapped up? Just quick answer.
You're asking us?
I would say,
yeah,
Skeens,
you got
it. Skeens wins it.
yeah,
Okay.
Skeens is going to win it.
Yamamoto has no chance. I have a future on that plus 1,300. But anyways, okay.
Probably for $1.
Yeah, Skeens probably has it wrapped up. So for my parlay, I'm going to go back to the Seattle game. I think Seattle Mariners over 1.5 in the first 5 is a good play. I think Bryan said it's 165 or something like that. That's fine with me. Mize has been shaky all season, and he doesn't have good numbers against Seattle. Seattle's just been bombing, so that's what I'm going to make my leg.
Sorry, TB, say that again and just give me the price, Brian.
Seattle first 5 over 1.5.
Yeah, I'd say about 165.
Over 1 point. Okay, minus 165. I had to do, like, I'm telling you, I know TB handicaps EuroLeague basketball. If that is your thing, check him out because I know he does extremely well in this league. I never watch EuroLeague basketball. I know nothing about it, but one of my favorite things to do is just pull up a EuroLeague roster. So I said, you know what, Hapoel Tel Aviv, let's go see who's on that team. We've got former Syracuse Orange Tyler Ennis. I mean, it's just great. It's all these guys in college that you forget about, and then it's like
6 years ago.
Yep, it's great. Ish Wainwright from Baylor. I mean, I haven't seen some of these names in a decade, and then it's like that's one of my favorite things to do. Another Baylor guy, Jonathan Motley, another Baylor guy. But yeah, Tyler Ennis he was a local guy for us here, played for Syracuse, and again, you don't even know these guys if you don't follow European basketball, you don't even know if these guys still have a career. And there they are. Some of them have great long careers over in Europe. So if you like EuroLeague basketball, check out TB. And if you like playoff baseball, you can get it from all of us for $9. I've got a play up for today. I'm sure Brian, do you have something on the page yet for today's games?
I may be using a 5% play. I'm on a 21-5 baseball run under 4 and 5%. It won't be the same play that I gave here. But there's couple games I think have some value on today's card.
So I do believe that bases 99 coupon is probably, I think this might be the last day for it, or it's going to expire this week at some point. Hopefully I didn't misspeak. I don't know if it already expired, but we did have a coupon code bases 99. The reason I'm bringing that up is because if Bryan's going to use a 5%er, those are still full price. So if you just get the rest of his playoffs with the coupon code bases 99, you're almost, you're most of the way there. If you are going to get his 5%er, just go use the code bases 99 and you've got everything from him through the World Series. It's the value play, in my opinion. So, and I hope I didn't misspeak because then people are going to be emailing into customer support. I'll get yelled at. So hopefully that coupon still works. Bases 99. It worked on the full postseason. They didn't tell me when it was going to expire. So hopefully I didn't just promote something that no longer exists, but go to his page and try it. We only know if we try, right? So check that out if Bryan uses a 5%er. Otherwise, we are $9 for any of the best bets that aren't 5% plays. I just had the parlay punched in. Go ahead, TB. I'm trying to calculate.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean, I have this bad habit of interrupting. We always put out free plays almost daily as well. Some people in the chat are asking, do you have a free play up today? Why don't you just go to wagertalk.com and click free plays? I mean, if you're not willing to do that, then you're probably not going to win at gambling. So make a little effort, guys. We do put free plays up. So just go to the free plays page. I have one up in EuroLeague. Yes, your specific question was, is your free play EuroLeague? Just go check. I do have it up. Yes, I certainly do.
Each handicapper has free picks on their page, but also if you just go to the Wager Talk website, right at the top bar, free picks, it lists every handicapper that put out a free play in order. Nice, right
20
on one page. So
there's usually like 20 out there. So yeah.
Yeah, and we will put a couple up a week. I'll throw something up there today for sure in one of the 4 games. Go ahead, TB.
Sorry, quick note about free plays. A lot of people ask, like, what's your free play and things like that. Most handicappers, what we'll do is we'll put a percentage rank, like 5%, 3% or something. And the ones that are like 1% or 2%, we'll throw those in a free play. So a lot of them are client plays, or a lot of them are ones that missed our card. So the free plays are a little bit less percentage-wise than our high percent plays, but in many cases, they still are client plays. So there's value to go check our free plays page.
Something I always do personally, I don't know if others do this, I always put a note if I give out a free play. If I'll note if it's a client play or not. I'll put the percentage ranking. So if mine has a percentage ranking, it's a client play. If it doesn't, then it's not. But it's still, it's usually still something I have a strong enough opinion on where I think you should consider it. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. And honestly, sometimes it's like, I'll put something up in the free plays. It'll end up being like a 3 or 4% for me. And then I'll just go back and say, well, guy, I already gave it out. Can't take it off the free play section. So you end up getting one for free. So keep an eye on that. Very simple to get to. Go to the Wager Talk website, free picks right on the top tab. Everyone's in the same page. It's a great little feature on the site. Go ahead, Bryan.
I just want to point out we did win our first hockey play yesterday on the Pittsburgh Penguins. I will be on the hockey show with Andrew and Carmine tomorrow, and that's at 8:00 Pacific. So I get to sleep in a little bit on that show, except for we're going to be doing this show too. So going from one to the other. So if you're interested in hockey, the Golden Knights are my local team here. I got the jersey on right now. But we play tonight, and it'll be the late game, and I guess it's going to be on TNT or some major network with the hockey starting up. But number one, not only in baseball for 11 years, number one in hockey 11 years. Those are the 2 sports I love, and those are the ones that you should buy.
All right, parlay one more time. I actually haven't even read it yet, so let me read off the parlay in case you didn't put it together. I will go in time order. So this should entertain you all day, hopefully, because that would mean we hit it. Tokyo Brandon's going Mariners first 5 team total over 1.5. That's minus 165 odds. That's Mariners team total over in the first 5 over 1.5. Bryan's going to go Blue Jays team total over 3.5 in that Yankees Blue Jays game. So that's for the full game. Jays team total over 3.5. And I'll try to close us out with Dodgers on the money line. That's plus 381. The parlays, shout out to us one more time. We did a 3-team parlay pretty much every day on this show for the entire season, like 6 months worth, and ended up plus 5.35 units. So basically, if you were to play them equally, for every dollar, plus $5.35. I'm actually, when we decided to do this, I was just like, I hope we just don't get crushed. So the fact that because of course, like hitting 3-teamers is not an easy thing to do. So the fact that we got through the season ahead, shout out to us. Like that's impressive in my opinion. And hopefully we can put a little cherry on top with another one today. But this, even if we lose today, we'll still end up ahead. This will be the final parlay of the day because, of course, this is the last day with more than 2 games for the rest of the season. That being said, we will be with you for a total basis every weekday that there is playoff baseball. So we will see you back here tomorrow no matter what. Good luck today. Check out our pages, $9 baseball plays. Bryan might have a 5%er. And we'll see you guys back in the morning, 9 a.m. for more total bases.